allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call this meeting to order. Our first order of business, public announcements. The Charter Commission will meet on the first and third Tuesday of the month from 6:15 to 7:15 p.m. and are open to the public. The meetings are June 21st and July 5th. The state primary and MSAD 49 school budget validation referendum election will be held on Tuesday, June 14th, 2016 at 7:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the community center. Early voting has started. Please contact the town clerk for details. Number 3, summer concerts in the park begins on June 10th. The concerts are from 6 to 7:30 p.m. each Friday. And for PAL summer program registration sign up for children ages 6 to 12 will be held at Benton Elementary on June 15th from 3 to 6 p.m. Details may be found at www.fairfieldpalsports.com. And our second order of business, public hearings, of which there are none tonight. Third order of business, public comments. Members of the public may speak to the council on any item or reserve the right to speak on a specific item that is on the meeting agenda when the item is addressed. Is there anybody from the public who wishes to speak at this moment?
I would, but I'd like to speak with the town manager after the meeting.
We have time to speak now.
I'll wait till after the meeting.
Oh, okay, just after the meeting. There's nothing to speak to the public now at this point. Okay, very good. After the meeting. Very good. Thank you, Gary. Is there any other?
Nice.
Is there any other people who wish to speak at this time? Yes, sir. Please state your name and.
My name is Mark Pantamala. I live at 16 High Street here in Fairfield. Thank you for letting me speak tonight.
Sure.
The first thing that I want to talk about, some years ago, the town of Benton and Fairfield had meetings on the Fairfield police covering calls in Benton. And it was agreed upon that the Fairfield PD would no longer cover calls in Benton. It was going on quite a bit back then. And that was per orders of Benton. They're the ones that put that order on. Now you'd have to, I don't know where this is written on paper. I just know that this was an agreement between Benton and Fairfield, okay? Over the last month, on my home scanner, I've heard 2 calls of Fairfield PD covering calls in Benton. And I first don't know if any of you know about it. I'm sure Mr. Bard, Sergeant Bard maybe knows about it.
Mr.
But I don't know if you.
Please make sure that your comments are directed towards the council.
Okay. At least 2 calls that I know of, maybe more, I don't know. And that can't happen. The people of this town don't pay to cover Benton. Now both calls were calls in which Fairfield went because they were called by the Kennebec County Sheriff's Department. I don't know why. And now I don't know why all of a sudden it's come to be where if they're going to be late 5 minutes, or if they're 5 minutes out, they're asking Fairfield to cover. I don't know why that's come up again all of a sudden. And perhaps that whole agreement needs to be looked at again, because it's a different world than it was 15 years ago, where the schools have their own procedures now. You can't just be a school and have people walking around there and stuff. And we need to have an agreement of some sort. Benton don't want to pay for police department, that's fine with me. They can rely on state police and Kennebec County. And if there's a domestic going on there and they want help, I'm sorry, that's something that they agreed to, okay? I want to adhere to the wishes of Benton and at the same time be fair to the people of Fairfield. They're footing the bill, and I did call Benton and talk to a young lady over there, and she abruptly ended the phone call, so they somewhat know. And I told them if we're going to continue to call, send our police officer over there, they're going to be billed, and that's the way it is.
Well, thank you for your
We
concern, Mark.
don't cover Benton, and we don't cover on a first call basis. If they want to rely on state police in Kennebec, so be it, okay?
We appreciate your concern. We do have mutual aid agreements, but we'll look into it further.
With the police too,
Yeah,
at the school,
it's all mutual aid. Please.
and for police. Why has all of a sudden this come up? Do you know, or in the last month?
I don't know
It's
what
been a very long
why
time
the
since these
reasons are
calls
that
started.
there have been calls, but we can look into it for you.
Okay. Now the next one is going to be a bit harsher. I don't see where this town is working for the people at all anymore. I see a town completely on its own agendas, where the town council is on their own agendas, and certainly the town manager. When I have to sit in a meeting, before I got thrown out of the budget meeting, and listen to Mr. Gary Mishu, who was in a tragic accident, and the town wants to take care of him because it's really the right thing to do. It's what we all need to get back to doing, is taking care of each other. When I see him stand up there and he's pleading to keep the last 3 years of insurance until his wife turns 65, and he has to mention this at a budget meeting where the people aren't allowed to speak. That's just wrong. For you to do that to him is the nastiest, most vile thing I could think of that one person could do to another one in this town. He was a firefighter in this town for many, many years, and he was a good man. And for you to state the kind of bull that you did to take his life insurance away, you're a vile, nasty,
I'm sorry.
wretched
We
woman.
We're not going to listen to
And-
this type of talk, sir.
And I wish you would just
Sir?
leave this
Not the
town.
town council, Mark. You need to be
Mark?
referred to
Mark?
the town council.
You're out of
I
order.
wish you wasn't
She's not your.
my
Mark?
town manager. 'cause
Mr.
it's just
Pennebaugh,
nasty.
you're out of order. Sir?
Now, a couple of years ago, I sat at a meeting here with a fireworks meeting. And there was probably...
Sir? Keep your eyes to the council.
There was probably 65 or 70 people in the fireworks meeting. And at that time, I spoke and said to take a vote on the people that were at the meeting. They're the only ones that care. 6 or 7 people voted to have fireworks in this town. The majority voted no. And who did my council side with? The minority. Why? That's not democracy.
Well, there was an ordinance passed that allows people to have fireworks the 4 days before July 4th, and 2 days after July 4th. Other than that, there's no allowable fireworks.
At the fireworks meeting, my council voted for the minority, the 6 or 7, and the majority, the 55 or so, that's what you did.
I disagree with that, but that's that was years ago.
2 years ago, I was right here.
It was
It was more than 2 years ago.
was
That
considerable.
was before my
period of
tenure,
time.
Mark,
It was-
and I've been here 4 years now.
When Mr. Finch was chairman of the council, it was
It was before anybody here
quite a,
was
quite a
on.
My
while
mind
ago.
ain't slipping.
I was on the
I can rest assured.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're building bridges across rivers. Bridges we don't need, with monies we don't have. We're getting $700,000 fire trucks. Right off the bat, it's costing the people $35,000 to enlarge a bay door at the fire station, which isn't covered by a grant. That's the people's money. These things come in under the pretense that they're free. Now, I don't want to discourage the firefighters from doing what they believe is right and proper, but it's up to you to decide what's good for the people. And that's going to be a burden on these people for the next 30 years. I haven't heard one iota of talk about selling another fire truck. Somebody's going to have to run that ladder truck. It's going to require more people. We don't have the people to run it now. We certainly don't have the trained people to run it now. I see my town simply run amok on their own agendas. Mr. Pichardi had his own Facebook problems with anti-Muslim rhetoric, which was well documented in the paper. These are nasty, vile things. Why aren't you listening to your people and doing what? Again, this year, we went up another 1.7%. Do you know in the last couple of years, we haven't increased the people in this town, we've decreased the people in this town. When are you gonna all realize that? This town has to cut. You know, just before I came down here, we spend almost $780,000 for the administrative part of this town. A little town like Fairfield, between the salaries and the insurances, we spend almost $800,000 just in administrative salary and insurances for the people working in this little town of roughly around 6,500 people. That is absurd. It's out of control. You're all out of control. We can't continue to spend like it's growing on a money tree somewhere. Good God, somebody give me one good, honest-to-God reason why we're building a bridge across the river. A walking bridge that goes absolutely nowhere.
Calm down, sir.
Nowhere.
Calm down.
To a rock covered in grass.
Sir, if you can't calm down, I'll have to ask you to leave.
Why are we doing these things? It is insanity. It borders on insaneness. What is wrong with you? You all went to college. I didn't.
Is that it, sir?
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Is there any further comments from the public tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on to our fourth order of business, the reports from staff committees, town manager report and committee reports. Town manager.
So, excuse me, wanted to make mention that I realized when you read the public announcements that the public hearing for the Charter Commission, which is this Saturday at 10 a.m. right here in this building, was not on that list.
Okay.
So, and I thought it was last meeting, so I somehow, anyway.
It was,
but-
and also, if I may add on to that, there's a ribbon cutting
For
this
the
Saturday for the
food
food bank as well.
Yeah,
And
also
that's
10
not on
a.m.
this list.
That's
so,
correct, for the food pantry.
And that's at the same time, isn't it? 10 a.m.?
Yes, they're
So
both
there's
at 10 a.m.
A clash of
Yep.
itineraries there.
Also wanted to make sure you're aware that the 30-day notices to lien for this year's taxes were mailed out this morning, so folks should be getting those in the mail in the next couple of days. And then also in front of you this evening when you came in, there was a memo from me regarding the draft land use ordinance, as well as a proposal for a potential K-9 unit for the police department. I just wanted to make sure you had that. These items will be on your next agenda, but instead of waiting to email them with the packet, I figured it was best to get them to you as soon as we
Thank
could.
you. We've been waiting for the,
That was it.
with bated breath for the dogs.
Yes. Well, in the land use ordinance, the map just showed up this week, so we've been,
good.
that's why there was a bit of a delay, but
Great.
they're.
Yeah,
good.
what is that yellow area on the map depicting? I know that's a new commercial zone.
It's a change in the zoning from, there's an extension of the industrial zone up near Sappy.
Yeah.
And then there was a village
Right.
zone, which they're actually changing all of that in through there to commercial.
Okay.
And that's it from,
Any committee reports?
We did have our so-called ribbon cutting on Saturday for kicking off the Trails program down and back of the high school in the Powell Fields. There was about 8 of us that went.
Yeah.
And we cleaned up the trail and moved some brush, and we're off and running, so to
And
speak.
you all left tick-free, I hope?
Oh, yes, I did.
Good.
as far as we were aware.
Very good.
It's really a very nice area down there, and we should have a picnic table by the pond, and
Isn't it pleasant? Yeah.
yeah, it's very, very nice.
Thank you. Any other committee reports? Seeing none, our 5th order of business is to waive the reading of and accept the minutes as printed or amended for meeting 11/16 held on May 25th, 2016.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion?
I believe that there were some items that required amendment with respect to the
Sure.
minutes. And other counselors might have noticed different ones, but on item 1657, there was a. I'm sorry, not 1657. Moving on. There's 1663. The vote tally in the minutes is currently reflected as 401 with Councillor Thibodeau abstaining, and I believe the correct vote was 4-1 and
That's
0.
been changed.
That's been
I'm
changed.
sorry, it's on,
That was correct.
on the minutes.
Yeah.
It is
It's on the revised.
410 with Stephanie
All right.
voting 0. We
Right.
recorded
The
it. voting 0.
revisions were all made that
Yeah,
were recommended.
yeah, and they
Yes.
were printed and put in your mailbox on Monday.
Fair enough.
Sorry we couldn't get to your email.
That's all right.
Any other?
Nope, if those revisions are made.
Those revisions have been made. Thank you, though, for reminding us. Any further discussion? All in favor? To go. Thank you. And for special meeting 12/16 held on June 2nd, 2016. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? That special meeting was for our day in court with Time Warner.
Yes.
So just to let folks know what that meeting was about. Any further discussion? All in favor? Let's go. Thank you. Our 6th order of business is the budget report and treasurer's warrant to file a monthly budget report for the period ending May 31st, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All look well?
Yep.
Very good. All in favor? Let's go. Thank you. And to approve the treasurer's warrant 73 in the amount of $593,619.03. CMD, $20,039.40 for spring cleanup. Apparently, we cleaned up 199.4 tons.
Almost 200 tons.
Almost. Motor Vehicle Division, $24,050.71 for vehicle registrations. Pike Industries, $429,178.24 for street paving and bond work. General Fund, $120,350.68 for IF&W, health insurance, Maine PERS, and PERK, giving us the total of $593,619.03.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? That's a go. Seventh order of business, to take action on the following items. Item 1666, ordered that the town council hereby signs a quitclaim deed for property located at 23 Pirate Lane, map 31, lot 17-00A.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I believe that was just a, something that was overlooked in a
Book and page correction.
book and page correction.
Okay, that's what I was gonna, okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Let's go. Item 1667, order that the town council hereby approves the town manager to sell generator to the 2008 generator.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Do we have a buyer?
We don't at this point in time. We thought that we were. So when we put this on the agenda, we did think that we had a vendor that was going to buy it, and we do not yet.
Okay.
Actually, what the chief and I have discussed is setting it at the minimum bid price that we had on it before and actually advertising it on Craigslist.
Sure.
At this point, and go forward with that and take care of it that way. And if the vendor does come forward, but they hadn't had an opportunity to give us anything official, but we want to at least continue to keep moving forward with it and do the best we can to get rid of it.
Very good.
Sounds good.
Any further discussion? All in favor? To go. And item 1668, order that the town council hereby considers proposals and authorizes Somerset IT to purchase and install new server and software at the town office. So we'll be considering proposals.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Do we have our proposals here?
Yes, we do.
Gave us all the,
We have several of them.
There are 3
haven't seen them
bids
yet.
that came in.
Yeah.
It's that packet right there, yep. And the top sheet is a summary using the lowest bid of the server for the grand total.
Yep.
And then the 3 following sheets are the actual server quotes themselves.
So is the first one from Somerset?
So the
The
entire
IT.
package is what it would cost us, what we would pay to Somerset IT. It was just the fact, so the other items, which include the subscription set up for the email migration and externally saved, the backup assist software, the Kaspersky antivirus, and the Crypto Prevent antivirus. Those are all items that were well within our threshold and didn't require to be bid, but the server itself did need at least 3 bids. So in the interest of haste, we've gotten those 3 bids. They're relatively close to each other in prices, ranging anywhere from $8,086.48 all the way up to $9,769. Servers are not cheap. If you remember at our last meeting, we were given a report whereas the memory in our current server is running at 98% and is causing some serious delays in our office. Reports that should take 3 to 4 minutes are taking 45, so.
Is there an indication of preference of vendor from Somerset?
Actually, the low bidder is the first estimate that we actually received. That we've had that estimate for 2 weeks. They are somebody that they have worked with on multiple occasions, and actually, it's also the same gentleman that will handle, that the contract will be with for handling the external email backup. We already use them all. We're currently using them for our anti-spam service. They give us a really good price, which has diminished the amount of spam that we receive drastically.
Nice.
Yep, so.
motion to accept Drew Baxter's bid.
So moved.
Second. Drew Baxter's
Drew
from
Baxter,
Drew Baxter.
for a bid total of $11,700.
No,
No?
$8,086.
48.
For the amount, for a total amount of $11,775.48.
Right, we're just accepting the bid at this point, not the full.
Just a bid on the server.
Just a bid on the survey at this point.
$8,086.48.
48 cents, yeah.
Consider proposal submission to purchase and well, it did say purchase and install from Somerset IT, so.
Well, I just figured we needed two separate,
No, it's all in the same,
it's all the same.
all same item. Consider a proposal and authorize Somerset County to
Well, if you look
purchase
at
and
that,
install.
the Vista
Okay.
group
Well,
is less
Well,
when
basically,
you include their labor.
yeah, there's a little bit.
That labor is only for the setup of the server. That's just the work they have to do to the server to get it ready.
That's not putting it in the.
That's not
Not the install
Not the
labor.
install, not any of that.
Okay.
But it's still below, and if you look at install labor, we don't know what the install labor would be. So the possibility that it might be a lower quote.
Let's see. Labor will be included.
And then
in
again,
quotation.
computer
So
improvement
that
is a lower quote
correction,
as
that,
well.
that is for them to do the install. And then the additional labor will come, the cryptovent, the Kaspersky, the backup assist, that will all be done by Somerset IT. So that's why in that cover sheet with the details, if you notice there's a cost, which includes, and there's no labor next to it. Somerset County's labor's IT is in the labor line. Sorry, just to clear that up.
Right, yeah, if you look at the thing in the Drew Baxter bid, it does have the 16 hours of labor for 1,600, and if you add that onto the Vista Group, they actually come out about 400.
Where do you find it?
And- and-
I don't see
$400.
the $1,600 of labor.
Also, if you look at the Vista Group one down, they were not able to quote,
$100. Oh, they're over here, 60.
Yes,
they were not able to quote install labor.
right,
So that number was added in
Added.
based upon what the low bidder was at, just so when we
Gotcha.
started looking at totals, it says this should be able to compare apples to apples,
right.
so that you knew what the totals would be.
All right,
That's why.
not clear. Should be clear.
I know.
Excuse me, what was the account? The funds to be
They
taken out?
voted, the council voted last meeting to take the funds from the general administration account for this.
I'd like to reflect that in the minutes with your permission.
That'd be great, thank you. So the motion is to accept the the Drew Baxter bid. Any further discussion?
Any public comment?
No.
Nope.
Any, all in favor? I'm abstaining. Okay. So, we are at item 1669, ordered that the town council hereby ratifies the two-part settlement agreement made with Time Warner Cable on June 2nd, 2016. Part 1, Time Warner Cable will pay the town of Fairfield $125,000. Part 2, in approximately 60 days, cable franchise fees that are paid to the town of Fairfield will increase from 5% of limited basic revenue to 5% of all gross revenues going forward.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
How much did we spend on legal fees?
Somewhere between $70,000 and $80,000. So the $125,000 that we will receive will cover our legal fees and give us a small remainder going forward.
Well, plus it also gives us a 5% of the gross revenues, which is considerably more money than the 5% of the limited basic revenues.
Yeah, so the crux of all this is what we had to ask for back in 2005.
Right.
I never received any.
Right.
So, but then we got it in concrete.
And I can assure you that what we spend in legal fees is much less than what Time Warner spent in legal fees.
Yes.
One of the things I was hoping to see is some kind of remediation for the equipment that's being used.
So that piece came up already in discussion when we started working on the franchise agreement, because the franchise agreement that the town has with Time Warner Cable had expired. So that conversation started in the renewal process, but then the renewal process and this lawsuit all started at the same time. So the renewal process of the franchise agreement was put on hold until this was done. That franchise agreement did come up during the settlement hearing, and the council opted to wait and to take care of one issue at a time. Finish the settlement hearing, then we'll deal with the franchise agreement afterwards. So that will be on the table when we start those conversations going forward.
And just so that people have an idea of what went into this document, 3 counselors and town attorney and his associate spent 8 hours, and also Michelle, spent 8 hours under the watchful eye of a federal judge, negotiating, arguing, presenting facts, counterpoints, counterfactual examples,
Yes.
Parsing out the economics and law of all this situation. And when it came down to it, and the point of these settlement discussions is the judge kind of gives you an idea. They're not the same judge who would hear the case, but they give you an idea of, if I were the judge, here's what I think would be strong, here's what I think would be weak. When it all came down to it, when we jettisoned the weakest parts of our case and they jettisoned the weakest parts of theirs, this is about where we were coming down to in terms of what we would reasonably expect if we went to a trial, but we'd have to pay the town attorney another $20,000 to $30,000 to get it.
More money,
So this is probably the best outcome in terms of making sure that we didn't incur costs in the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we may have been stuck with if a different judge had disagreed and tossed our case at trial.
Correct.
Any further? All in favor? To go. And our 8th order of business is our council workshop with other businesses. First item is to discuss town council administrative policy section 210, bids and proposals. Through all this, we know where we are. Here we
And
go.
this is the purchasing policy, right?
And there's been a minor correction since this was emailed out to you. I noticed it this afternoon when I was re-looking at it on page 4. The contract and services agreement section, the one that I had said that I was really looking for suggestions on, that actually should be contract or service agreement, not for service agreement.
Okay, gotcha.
Just so you know.
Well, that caught my eye. And I didn't know if it was contracts for service or contract for services.
Yeah.
But it's contract or
Or
services. So I went online and I looked up Title 33, Section 51. I looked up Title 11, Section 2-201.